Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder and owner of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a digital marketing agency that works exclusively with fencing and decking businesses. Today, I have another amazing guest for you guys that I met very recently, within the past several weeks, I'd say. He's a deck builder from Minnesota and has really just seen a lot of growth really fast. Doing a lot of big things. And my guest here is Josh Ferri. He's the owner of Lakeside Decking, and they're on pace for around 2 million this year. And they're based out of Wayzata, Minnesota. Hope I said that right. We literally just talked about it because I was like, I'm probably going to butcher it, but close enough. And Josh, appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy. Thanks for coming on the podcast with me. How's it going, man? How you doing?
Good. Very good. It's definitely a busy time. Lots going on. We've moved into a new office. We've brought on a few more crews, just trying to keep up.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna unpack that a lot too, and all the inner workings of the business too. But if anyone's curious, so Josh was introduced, mutual friend Chris Breen, and just did a training for him literally yesterday. So I saw Josh on a Zoom call within less than 24 hours, I would say. So Josh, a young guy, very ambitious, doing big things, 29, about to be 30, and already seeing a lot of success. So I figured it'd be perfect to bring him on here and kind of show what he's been able to do in such a short amount of time. So yeah, let's just dive in. I'm just going to get right into it. Josh, if you don't mind, just kind of explaining your story, maybe your history in the decking industry, and then a little bit about Lakeside Decking, or really just your role, I guess your role within the company.
Yeah. So I own the company, 100% ownership, Lakeside Decking. So my role, it's an interesting question because over the last year, my role inside the company has changed probably about 4 or 5 times. At the When I first joined the Legacy Decks Academy, my goal was to be off the job site by December 31st of 2023, and I was able to get off the job site by August of 2023. So coming up on a year off the job site, and as we've integrated more people, brought 2 of my guys off the job site to be project manager, project coordinator, my role shifts as I hire people to take care of the things that were taking up my time before. So, little backstory on us. So we're based in Wayzata, Minnesota. There's kind of the Lake Minnetonka area. Very heavy deck scene, big. It's a very big market. We have a tremendous amount of competition. We started actually as a cabinetry company. We started as a cabinetry company back in 2016 called Garage Shop Designs. Morphed into a decking company when I moved to Minnesota in about end of 2019, beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic really took off. And basically, I quickly realized, back in Chicago, bigger scene for cabinets. In Minnesota, way bigger scene for decking. And I just kind of had to make a decision, like, is this going to be a career for me? And what do I want that to look like? And I really found my calling in deck building because I could express the creativity and the kind of the precision that I had in cabinetry just on a larger scale. And if we're being, frank, the money was better. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, we, for about 3 or 4 years, I was on the job site building, had a crew, and then, just quickly realized, like, okay, if I want to make something of this, if I want to make a career, if I want to scale, I got to get off the job site and I got to start leading from afar, I guess is what they say.
Yeah. So you're
Okay.
saying you're a cat. So you had a cabinetry business in Chicago first. So like that
Hmm.
was the original business. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you moved. Okay. All right. So, how long has Lakeside Decking been in business?
So I converted Garage Shop Designs, which was my cabinetry company, over just to deck building. And I quickly realized, being on this marketing podcast, I quickly realized that if I didn't have the word deck in my name, I was at a big disadvantage.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a two birds, one stone thing. Number one, I was a sole proprietorship, LLC, which wasn't the greatest for from a legal standpoint, based on the amount of employees we were getting and the revenue that we were doing. My lawyer was kind of like, hey, you should maybe protect yourself a little more. So we wanted to convert over to an S corp, and I was like, okay, might as well just do this at the same time. Let me change the name and convert over to an S corp. So that's how Lakeside Decking was born. So if you look in, the registry, technically Lakeside Decking is, 2022-ish, but the company, for all intents and purposes, is from 2016.
Gotcha. Okay. And then can you tell us a little about revenue last year, this year, what you're on pace for, and
I can
what
tell
you're
you
targeting?
revenue for the last 4 years, but so the last so 2022 we did a little over 400 in revenue. 2023 we did a hair over 735, and now we're probably on pace. I think we've done 1.4, and we're on pace to do about 2 in production, and then obviously sales will be a little higher than that.
Nice. Okay. And
So big increase this year.
yeah, yeah, and we're going to talk about that a lot to see kind of what you thought were like the big things that were changed to really see that growth. But I'm just curious a little bit more about the business at that size. How many crews are you running right now?
So right now, and quite frankly, like just being transparent, this is maybe like 3 4 days old. This week we're running 4. um you know we've had a job posting out there for just a little bit, so we had 2 crews, and we were starting to look, and we brought in 2 more crews over the last several weeks.
Okay. Are they in-house or do you use subs?
So we have a contractor agreement with our contractors. They are technically subs, but they only work for us. They wear Lakeside Decking gear. We even put stickers on their trucks if they want. We basically, sign an agreement with them that to, build the way we want to build, and act appropriately on the job site the way we want things to be conducted. And it's just one deck after the other for them. They don't, really have to find other work. But yeah. They are 1099s, but yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? Like, how's it, have you always been using subs or did you use in-house?
No,
Uh,
we had an in-house crew. When I was on the job site, I had W-2 employees, and then when I got off the job site, I still had W-2 employees, but the model was very difficult because I was paying them hourly. So I had to just guess how long a deck I think would take, and if it took longer, I was screwed. So with the model that we have now, where it's basically paid by production, the guys know what they're going to make when they build this deck. And obviously, if a deck takes more time, that's because it's more complex, and they're making more money because we're doing a drainage system, or we're doing a post wrap, or whatever that may be.
mhm.
But yeah, the system works out very well because we pay them pretty well for what they do. But yes, we did have in-house crews at one point.
So how does that work when you have some surprises, like you said? Like, so the I guess so. Okay, you're working on a job, and then they want some kind of additional thing, like whatever that may be. How does that work with the crews that you have? Do you just basically have to negotiate the
So
price with them and come back with a customer after you talk to them, or
yeah, so before I moved to the subcrew model, I did a lot of research. Okay. Number one, I took a look at all of our past jobs, and I saw what overages we were having, okay, and why that was happening. So let's say, like, we were putting in a footing and we ran into a rock, and it took an extra 5 or 6 hours to get the rock out of the ground. So I was like, okay, make a line item for that. This is what I'm going to pay you to get the rocks out of the ground. This is what I'm going to pay you to fix rotted framing members inside the house if we take off the old ledger and find out that you've got rot in your house. So I tried to front load that as much as I can. So that's one thing. So that if, hey, boss, or whatever, it's actually, they would call the project manager. The project manager sees that, okay, well, there's rot inside the house. There's a line item for that. How many linear feet of rot do we have? This is how much we pay you per linear feet. This is how much you're going to make. We'll get the materials for you. So it's really just when we go to our clients, we're like, hey, this is how much it's going to be. And our cost is the materials, the labor, and marking up. And that's, so it's pretty simple to go back to clients and say, hey, you know, this happened, or we're running into this. And if it is something that we don't know about and we've never run into it before, I go to my crew and I say, what do you want for it? Like I want to make sure that you get paid well. Like it's not anybody's fault. So it's, you know, and we come up with a number, and that's the number from then on out. We put it on the pay sheet. And, if we run into this very unique situation ever again, then, there's obviously always little things on the decks here and there, like, oh, they got to remove some patio pavers and put them back or whatever, that we try our best to like get ahead of. But, you know, our crews they're like family to us. We try and overpay them as much as possible. We bring them, things on the job sites. We help them out with different things here and there. So, you know, we're it's pretty often that we can come to a good agreement on what this may cost. And then if I'm trying to quote out something to a client that we've never done before, hey, we want to design this bar. It's really cool. I have no idea how to charge. I go to them and I say, here's the design. What do you want to build this?
And then just mark it up like a fixed percentage, or how do you do that?
Yeah, we do a fixed percentage. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that percentage is calculated based on our budget for the year, what we need to make, how many, what's awesome is that budget plans for the future though. That's something that a lot of people don't account for. So they plan for the year, but they're not including in their markup. Do you want to get a truck next year? Do you want to move into an office space? Like those things don't just happen. You have to plan for them. So my
Yeah.
markup includes that as well. That's something that the academy taught us.
Gotcha. Okay. And are you just doing decks, or are you doing any other services? I think
I
you
mean,
mentioned.
we do outdoor living.
Okay. Anything
So,
outdoor living?
so I mean, we're not going to cut your lawn, and I really don't do many. I don't do any like patios. I'll hire out I'll either get the client in contact with a patio guy, or I'll hire a sub for the patio. But like my crews that are Lakeside Decking crews, yeah, they just do pergolas, decks, screen and porches, drainage systems, retractable screens, anything that kind of goes along with decks.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You know,
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Right now, we
And
may expand. We do outdoor kitchens and stuff like that, but yeah.
okay. And markets you touched on a little bit. Which specific areas you guys typically work through?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
The markets you guys are serving.
Oh yeah, so we serve around the Lake Minnetonka area, which is the western metro of Minneapolis. To get specific, we'll go, all the way up to Maple Grove, a little more north of that. We'll go south as far as what's called like Chanhassen and Chaska area. We try not to go too far. We try not to go too close to the city. It's just not the greatest like market and whatnot. And then as far west um as like what's called like Victoria or Minnetrista or things just a little bit past that. Our name is there for a reason, Lakeside Decking. We definitely primarily operate around the Lake Minnetonka area and the closest suburbs there, but we'll go wherever a deck needs to be built.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about marketing. Obviously, this marketing podcast for the most part, even though we talk about all kinds of stuff on here, but always like to have that marketing side of it. So I'm just curious, and you know, I guess we'll start with offline marketing. So do you do any types of offline marketing whatsoever?
You're
Like,
talking about like mailers,
yeah,
flyers.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
we used to, and it never worked out. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
Now,
Of
Alex Hermosi, I don't know if you're familiar with him.
course.
He, talks about how he was talking to one of his mentors, and he was like, "I don't understand. It's not working. I'm only sending out 500 flyers."
Yeah, I actually
And,
watched that
his
episode.
mentor's like, 500. That
Yeah,
needs to be 500,000. So
yeah,
we never. I'll be the first to admit we never took it to the place where maybe it could have gone to, but for the same amount of spend on digital advertising, we're getting way more
yeah,
return.
yeah, yeah.
I would have had to spend way more on 500,000 flyers or 5,000 or whatever it may be to hopefully get people to call me back. Put it this way. In the 4 years that we've been basically operating in earnest in deck building in Minnesota, I've gotten two decks from a flyer. Uh,
Gotcha.
Then the other big type of offline marketing that we do is just in-person events,
Yep.
home shows, um, street fairs, art fairs are really awesome for us, especially really local ones in our like hometowns and whatnot, so that people can see like, hey, these guys are based in Wayzata and I'm in Wayzata and I need a deck.
Yeah.
Um, and then we're part of the chamber, and then we do sponsorships and whatnot. So like people see our name quite a lot. Um, and then I just do different like networking events and stuff.
Yeah. Are you part of NADRA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
You go to the all the events there, like Deck Expo or NADRA Summit?
I go to Deck Expo. I've not been to Nadra Summit yet. I'm focusing on growing the business right now, and then I'll worry about the awards later.
Yeah.
And at this point, now that I joined the academy and we're traveling for that, when you got Expo, you got IBS, I can only be gone so much, so I gotta
Yeah.
kind of pick and choose. So I really want to go to Nadra, maybe one day when we have our all of our shit together more.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually literally right before this talking with Stephanie Beaudry from NADRA, and we were talking about some new marketing stuff for them and all the awards and stuff like that. And she pitched it pretty good, the NADRA Summit. We're already going to Deck Expo, got a booth there, but I think trying to make a bigger push and doing more of them, and paying for booths and stuff like that. So I guess we'll see. Well, I'm going to see you in like a week, literally like 4 days at this LDX thing, but I'll see you later at the Deck Expo too. It sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so yeah, of course, offline marketing is not what I always focus on. Everything you just said is what I hear a lot. So on the digital side, I'm curious, like what exactly are you guys doing? Actually, first things first, have you ever used any lead buying services like Yelp, Angie, Thumbtack?
No, no,
No. Okay.
I'll get it right in front. No way. No, no.
Just because you heard bad things or what?
Yeah, I mean, if I tried it was just I would get somebody who was like, "Hey, I need a deck." Okay, great. That'll be blah blah blah. Oh, I was expecting 2,000. My uncle can do it for two. I was like, "All right, I got
I
I
got you.
maybe I didn't give them a fair chance." But the moment that they started like charging the, you know, the contractor and not the person, I was like, no. And everybody that I know around the area who used to be on any of those things has gotten off.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So SEO using that?
Not as much as we should be. We definitely should be doing more SEO stuff. We're kind of again we just brought on an administrative assistant. I think her 90 days is on like this coming Monday. So like we're ramping up. We're getting there. We have a wonderful local husband and wife team actually who do our paid ads. And I always say like, listen, I actually have a degree in marketing and
Nice.
advertising with an emphasis in graphic design, and they have forgotten more than I will ever know. I always joke around like that's a science. Like this stuff is a science, and they are laboratory technicians for sure. Um, so we've gotten a lot of our stuff from there. And then as we grow, yeah, we need to facilitate that growth with more lead generation, and SEO is definitely on the docket.
Gotcha. So they're running Google like pay-per-click ads or what types of ads?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
All kinds like Google pay-per-click, display ads, retargeting, Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that.
Oh, Facebook
Somebody
and
somebody
Instagram too.
Googles, they saw at their friend's house cable railing and they were like, "Oh, I want cable." I'll type in cable railing. We retarget, people like that. Um,
Gotcha.
so
Okay.
yeah.
Um, I'm curious, like, if you're doing all three of those budget wise, like to get the results, leads, and things like that, I mean, what does it typically take to keep that going if you're not doing SEO? Because usually SEO is what fuels the engine and gets the most leads. I mean, it's usually like well over double, I would say, like what it should be. So I'm just curious, like, do you don't have to share the exact dollar amount if you don't want, but are you using
Of how much we're spending on
yeah,
on
are you using really sizable numbers every
oh
month for the ad spend?
yeah, so I should let you know. Like here's a caveat because I'm going to tell you the number and you're going to be like, "Well, I'm sorry, what?" So if you go onto like for instance TimberTech's website and you do the find a contractor button, Okay. This is going to make sense in a second while I'm telling you the story. You do find a contractor and you type in within a 30-mile radius of my zip code, 55391. Okay. It'll tell you all the platinum contractors that are in the area. And I'll tell you that number in a second. But I was sitting around at the last Deck Expo with a bunch of guys and we were talking about competition. Like, what are we doing about our competition and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, just curious, like, there's guys from Arizona, there's guys from California, Florida, just kind of, all over the place. And none of them said that they had probably more than like 6 or 7 other platinum contractors within their 30 to 50 mile area. Okay. I have 38. Okay. Maybe more at this point. I don't even know. I don't really track it. The point is I have a tremendous amount of competition, which is fine. The decking industry here is huge. There's plenty to go around. And Minnesotans take their outdoor living very seriously. So the ones that are serious know that they need to hire a deck builder. Okay. But so I think this year, yeah, we'll spend close to 60,000 on just different sorts of our advertising budget as a whole is 60,000 or so. So maybe 40 of that is pay per click,
Gotcha.
Google advertising, stuff like that. Yeah, SEO, being that it's something that I just, put on my website and, do blogs and stuff like that. It is definitely our next forte. At the time but SEO, right? I mean, it takes a while for that stuff to really start catching on.
It
And
does.
what I realized, what I had my marketing kind of come to Jesus moment last year when mask mandates started to drop and other things. If you had a graph, my mask mandate line and my leads line dropped at the same time. Okay. So I came out of the pandemic with no advertising whatsoever, not even like a fucking postcard. All right. And I had to quickly be like, oh, all right, nobody's calling right now. I need to get my shit in gear. And luckily it worked out, but we almost ran out of decks to build. But the uh the point being, I had to do something that was going to be a little bit quicker turnaround. So
Yep.
I had to focus on the Google and Facebook and Instagram ads and other local advertising, and then tackle SEO later.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm curious, like the Facebook, Instagram ads, how are those working? Like for lead generation?
Very good. Very good. We're
Are you
getting about, like, on average, we average about 10 to 12 leads a week, and most of those are from Facebook and Google.
okay? What in terms of the quality of the lead? Like are you getting a lot of tire kickers? I mean, what is the quality of the lead for the Facebook ads? I'm curious. Are
The
there
quality is pretty high. I would say, shockingly, I don't know like the exact number of, like, not everybody buys, of course. That's just how it is. Like, sometimes people will still call me and their budget is still 100, $200,000. They're just, they're getting other quotes. They're not ready quite yet. So the quality of the lead is high. Um, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a guaranteed sale. That's all.
Yeah. So you haven't been able to like definitively see the difference between like Google ads or Facebook ad leads in
Oh,
your
I'm sure if I
interpretation
pulled it
based
up on
on
our
it.
CRM, I could, but I would say it's probably like a 70% Google. The rest would be like Facebook, Instagram, and yeah, or maybe like a 60/40 with 30% to Facebook and 10% to Instagram. I don't even know if the math works out there, but yeah.
Well, no, I mean like conversion rates. Like, you know,
Oh,
what turn into actual jobs or
um,
even leads.
yeah. Well, the leads is the percentages I just mentioned, but the actual conversion rates are hovering at about like 20 to 25%. And I don't have the exact numbers of who comes from where, but like shooting from my gut, I would say the more conversion is going to be actually split between Facebook and Google.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I always hear that Google ads, I'm curious to see what how the Facebook ads are being maintained because usually Facebook ads are much lower conversion just because it's basically, I mean, you're looking for somebody that's just scrolling. You know, they're literally wasting time and they find your ad. They can be used
Well, I
like
don't, are they doing
you know.
I don't even know if this can you do retargeting on
Yeah.
Facebook?
Yep.
So maybe
Yeah.
it's that, people are just Googling things that because I have advertisements for specific part. It's not just like, hey, call Lakeside Decking. So if somebody types in like pergola, okay, I want to, pergola, whatever. I have not only do I have advertising specifically for pergolas, okay, I have a landing page for them to go to, which is only pergolas. Okay, so that conversion is high as far as the targeted, um, you know, niche that we're trying to get into. It's not like somebody typed in pergolas and then they're just getting blasted with Lakeside Decking um,
What do you
thing.
mean by typing it in? Because like Facebook ads, you're not typing anything in.
No, I wouldn't it be retargeting from like if they t typed in like pergolas into Google, they might get retargeting
Oh,
on.
and then go to your website. You mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they might be scrolling around on different, like I don't know, they might be on Costco's website looking up how much the pergola from Costco is or whatever, and then our retargeting ads hit them, wherever they're seeing ads, and that's and specifically about that. And then we actually just today, an hour before we got on here, we had a conversation with a company that we also use for very, very local advertising. Actually, like it's so local, it's in your local urinal. Like advertising, just a little display above, on the wall above, where you're taking a piss, or actually in the stall even. But at very popular local restaurants, right on the lake, higher end areas and whatnot. Um, we do a lot of advertising with them in those locations, and those work out very well. And those are both digital and print. They do have like some printed ads in the bathrooms, and then they have digital ads throughout the restaurant and stuff like that. But they're doing a new thing which is just totally geolocation based. Okay, so if I want people that frequent this golf club, okay. We're whether we like it or not, we're always sharing data with people and different tracking websites. And you're on your phone and you look up the weather and it's like, can I get your precise location to give you the most accurate website? And you're like, yes. Well, not only did you give the accurate, location, you also gave them the rights to sell your location data and whatnot. So now if we sign up with this program, we'll be able to target, specific demographics of people that frequent, areas that we want to be in. If I know that a lot of my clients are golfers, so I might be doing a few certain golf courses around the area, or I know that there's a lot of people who think they're going to build their own deck. They go to Home Depot, they realize how complicated that actually is, and they say, okay, I need a deck builder. Well, now I'm targeting all the people that went to that Home Depot that's near me and stuff like that. So we are getting a little more technical with like geolocation targeted ads as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Social media then, are you guys managing like consistent posts or anything with that?
Yeah, yeah, we are. I mean, we're posting. We we're forming a new strategy now on what we want the future of our social media to really look like. We definitely do not get any business from our social media. There's never once been somebody who came to me and said, "I saw your reel on Instagram and I need a deck."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so we have bigger fish to fry right now.
So as far as CRMs, just curious, what are you guys using?
We use Go High Level, like a white label Go High Level CRM.
Sorry. Yeah, well, it's good to know the CRM. Using a different project management software,
Oh, Job Tread.
JobTread. Okay.
Mhm.
You like that? It's been working out for you guys?
We love it. Yeah. One of my guys, who's also named Josh, his job basically, he does a little project managing, but one of his main job focuses is just build out our job tread and maintain it and make it better.
Gotcha. Yeah,
A
Eric
lot
Ford.
of work.
Yeah, yeah. I spoke with Eric Fortenberry, the CEO at JobTread. I think it was last week. He's coming on the webinar actually next week or the week after. So he was going through it. I mean, seems really cool. Like obviously I'm kind of removed from that part. It's like once it's you're dealing with the jobs, like my part is my job is over. But it's been interesting and good to know, quite frankly, because we do have clients that'll manage everything in like a spreadsheet or like paper, that kind of thing. So that's I've been trying to push him more and more towards that. But All right. So kind of big picture, I'm trying to see like what things we could share that are like the biggest levers, to move
Mhm.
the business forward. So like going from 700 to 2 million, that's a big jump in a year. I mean, what would you say the biggest levers you pulled that were, helping you get that?
I think definitely the advertising, really doubling down, making sure that we're staying ahead of our competition as far as, because listen, a lot of people just don't even advertise at all. And that has really helped. I mean, especially because, the proof is in the pudding. Most of the people that are calling us are from Google and Facebook or whatever. So that has been a huge driving force, but also just getting our name out there, marketing in person, doing in-person events. The home show here is massive. It's huge. So having a really good booth there helps. Um, really anything. I would say definitely our processes, how we operate within our business is unique-ish to the industry in terms of like we offer a white glove service in an industry that is not known for white glove service.
Yeah.
So that has set us apart. We've won some really big jobs simply because they were like, we like how you operate. We like your process. We like you. And yeah, I always actually tell my clients like when I'm giving them pricing, I tell them like, we'll find a deck that works for you in your budget. Buy Lakeside Decking, don't buy the deck.
Yeah. 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 I like that. Yeah. I mean, the guys like the chuck in the truck route. If you show up and like just look like shit and don't
Mm-hmm.
have any good kind of presentation, like it still blows my mind. And that probably is most contracting companies in general.
Yeah,
So
we don't run into a lot of that around this area. Just in this area, it's a little more affluent, and I think people definitely understand like use a specialist for that. It's just more like, my direct competition is my direct competition, and they're established. They have processes, they're scaling too. They do things right as well. So it to what extent, I don't know, but they're still around, so they must be doing something right.
yeah.
And they have nice clean trucks. So.
I gotcha. All right. So if you were talking to a decking business owner, trying to get to the next level, maybe it's crossing a million or maybe it's going from 200 to 500, I guess let's stick to that first example since it's a little bit clearer, but that big jump, like what would you say, like what do they got to do? Is it just the marketing side? Or are you thinking like there's any personal growth that you kind of went into to help get there too?
Well, yeah, I mean, as Chris Breen always says, you can't have the business plan without the business man. But so it's definitely personal, but you have to, I think number one, like the first thing you have to do is know your numbers. Am I charging the right amount to grow? Am I charging the right amount to hit 1.4 or 1 point whatever million? I mean, the amount of free work that is given out in our industry and is just astonishing to me. And you cannot scale when, how are you going to pay people with air?
Yeah.
So the main thing is know your number, know what your markup needs to be so that you have room in the tank if something goes wrong, and that you have and that you're charging the right amount so that you can grow.
Yep.
um, then you can do marketing. I mean, the how are you going to know how much you can and how much you want to spend on marketing if you don't even know how much you want to spend and charge on, you know, projects?
Yeah.
So knowing your numbers is the first thing, and then yeah, I mean, there's a million ways to skin a cat. So it's marketing may work for some. I've got other people I know who are like, no, I don't do any marketing. It's all word of mouth, and they're bigger than me.
Yeah.
So it's experimenting, it's finding out what you want. But I think one of the biggest things that people get tripped up on as far as like marketing and advertising is they don't let it work. They don't give it the time. They don't
Yeah.
they boost a post on Instagram, or they run a Google ad with no knowledge of how to run a Google ad, and a week later they're like, I'm not getting any leads. I'm canceling this. And it's like you won't see a lead probably for 6 months, so you need to be prepared.
Yeah.
And I have a big philosophy when I'm, with different things in my business is let professionals do professional work. I I have a degree in marketing and I don't know shit about it. So I let people who know what they're doing do what they do best.
Yeah.
And then I have a personal philosophy about marketing, which is don't put all your eggs in one basket. There are a lot of companies out there who are like, we'll do it all for you. We'll do your social, we'll do your website, we'll do your email, we'll do your virtual assistant, um we'll do your marketing, your advertising, your Google, your Facebook, and your videography and your photography. And they're doing that so that they can draw you in because you're like, oh, great, I only have to go to one place for all my needs. But really, their biggest money maker is just one of those things. Okay. So what ends up happening is like, and this happened to me with a few times. I would sign up for Google, Facebook ads. They'd put a little work towards that, and then they'd consistently try and sell me on photography and videography. And I was like, okay, that's not something I need right now. I need to build decks so that you have decks to, you know, get photos of. Um, and so I really started to realize like, okay, I need a Google Ads person, I need a photography person, I need a videography person. I just need, I need to diversify so that I let professionals do the professional work.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that, and I'm glad to know some people think that way because I mean I definitely agree with the fact like the photography and videography, like that one's kind of strange if you're doing that plus digital marketing because they're pretty far removed, like they're not even really in the
Mhm.
same avenue. I mean, you need to have good photography to have a good website and good ads and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's curious. I'm curious to see when you said like they make more money off one service because like
Well,
we
it's just
do.
it. I have nothing to back that up other than evidence of I've gone through God knows how many marketing companies, and in each scenario, and these were marketing companies that claim to do everything, and in each scenario, there's one thing that you could just tell that they were really like, this is what we need to do more of, and you're not going to make any sales if you don't just have really awesome videography, and it's $1,700 for us to come out each time, and I'm like, what the?
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have a huge network of agency owners, and I honestly I don't know of really I don't know of literally a single one. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people I know. I don't know if any of them offer photography and videography. So there's, I mean,
Maybe I found the one
it's
that was just a.
yeah, that's crazy. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're more videographers. Is that what your interpretation was? Or more like they wanted to just take pictures, make videos more than they wanted to do the marketing?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Gotcha. Okay.
maybe. So maybe I just had some bad experiences. I don't know, but I do like the idea of diversifying and not making sure that the obviously the ones that need to interact with one another, like maybe like SEO and ads and stuff like that, those can be in one location. But there's a lot of different types of marketing, and it's not always the best to put everybody all in one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it totally depends on who you're working with. And there are a lot of, like you said, a lot of, like, as an example, way back when, like, we just did websites and SEO, and then we kind of progressed to ads and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it really just kind of depends. But I know you guys are happy with like the Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So that's perfect. Sometimes what I've seen is if the industry isn't understood, like the ads don't match whatsoever. And like,
I
a
think
deck.
maybe being in an area where they're spending, $150 million a year in outdoor living. I mean, that's the Twin Cities market as of a couple of years ago. It might have even gone up from there. I rarely get clients who call me and don't have a generic understanding of decks. I
Yeah.
mean, I always joke around like crack houses in Minnesota have decks on them. Okay. So every like I know a builder right now, he's building 100 townhomes and every single one has a deck on it.
Yeah.
Okay. We just bid out a townhome complex who needs all new decks, 75 decks. Okay. So if you own a house in Minnesota, the likelihood is that you have a deck and
Yeah.
you've maintained it and you've gotten it sanded and power washed, or you converted to an older version of composite, and now you need to go to a new version of composite. So you generally see that people have an understanding. So when they see their neighbor get a brand new deck with cable railing and they're like, I really want cable railing. I'm going to Google cable railing. I think the people in our area are a little more educated as far as that outdoor living goes. So Facebook might be playing a role in that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, man, thanks for being, so open with all that stuff. I think anyone that's listening, I know that it always gets people excited, when you can see some fast growth, and I like to hear it too. And also kind of what you think has been going on or working the best. And, in this case, what's working, you're not doing anything by chance. You have, very specific strategies you're using, and it's going well. So uh,
Yeah.
I'm glad business is going well, and I hope it keeps going that way. Just keep growing and doubling every year.
Trying. Yeah. I
So
mean, we have some lofty goals. We got to pay for the sins of our past and we got to, we got stuff we got to do. So
nice. Well, yeah, Josh, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast, sharing everything with us. I think everyone got a lot of value from it, and
I'm glad.
yeah, absolutely. And going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast, we're going to keep doing these weekly podcasts. And I actually have a lot of people in the lineups recently that I'm excited to share. And from contractors like Josh, all the way like I said, to the project management software CEO from JobTread. So there's a couple others that we'll be planning out there, and I'm excited to go through that with you guys. If you
Sweet.
did find it valuable, this was helpful to you guys, please leave a review or subscribe to the podcast. It helps us out, and rank higher up on in all the podcast platforms. But and also, if you guys need any help with or have any questions about your marketing for either fencing or decking, feel free to reach out through our website, and we'll be able to contact you that way, and we can go through, do an audit, and really just look at everything and see if there's a plan or a way to make it work. But that's it for today. Josh, thanks again, man. Thanks for coming
Thank
on
you.
the podcast, and we'll talk soon.
All right. I'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah. See you,
All
man.
right. Bye.